Hey, this is Dave from metalepidemic.com. Thank you for checking out our YouTube video. Please feel free to hit the subscribe button below if you like this type of content, and we hope you enjoy the review. What's up, guys? Thanks for checking out our latest album review. For this review, we have been checking out the new EP from progressive metal pioneer Ihsahn. The new EP, Pharos, will be released on September 11th via Candlelight Records. So, for anyone that's not familiar with Ihsahn already, I'm sure you already are, but he's a Norwegian composer, multi-instrumentalist, vocalist, but probably better known for being the founder and guitarist vocalist of Norwegian black metal band Emperor. Ihsahn is the name he goes under for his solo material, which dates back to around 2006 when he released his first album, The Adversary. This EP was recorded at his home studio with additional drums by Tobias Solbach at Duke's Joint Studio, and Pharos is musically and conceptually a reverse image of Telemark, which was the first of the two linked EPs released back in February of this year. Pharos features 3 original songs and 2 covers. The covers are Rhodes, which was originally by British trip-hop band by the name of Portishead, and Manhattan Skyline by Aha, which also features the Leprous frontman Einar Solberg on the vocal duties. I know what you're thinking. It's only a matter of time before Duncan starts singing "Take on Me," but
I've been told not to. So
I promise to try and steer this ship away from that, but I cannot promise anything.
All I'm going to say is Dave cry wolf. Ooh, that's the only other Aha song that I know. I bet you're surprised I knew too.
I'm a little surprised, Duncan. Yeah, I'm not going to lie.
There we go. Wait, are they Norwegian or are they Swedish? I can never remember.
Aha.
Yeah, are they
I thought they were
Norwegian?
Norwegian?
Definitely Norwegian.
There we
Definitely.
go. There we are. It's all coming full circle.
Before Dimmu Borgir were invented.
Yeah. Yep. I like to think that Aha had a major hand in the inspiration behind Norwegian black metal band Emperor.
Dudes that were just like, I'm so sick of seeing Aha on the TV. Let's do something that's the polar opposite.
The thing about Ihsahn is that just when I think I've got a handle on what he's doing, he's one of the more interesting guys out there doing music. Just when I genuinely feel he did that album. Was it Black Jazz? Was that Ihsahn?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember listening to that for the first time, and it blew my fucking mind. Like, I was just like, what? Like, I kind of felt like I'd tripped over into the Black Lodge in Twin Peaks, and everything was inside out and upside down. And what bowled me over at the time more was, the revelation that this was the guy from Emperor, and just the fact that this guy would go off and do that sort of stuff in a completely different style and incorporate. I mean, multi-instrumentalist is a great term to use for him, but I would say genre eclectic is probably another way I would describe him, in that nothing never really necessarily feels out of bounds. And he's clearly a connoisseur of all sorts. You would never you can never imagine like Emperor are so seriously black metal, it's unbelievable. But that the guy from them would go off and then work on a Portishead cover or something. It kind of feels beyond the pale. But the thing I've always loved about him is that I always get the feeling that he just approaches music with a totally open mind and just craft. It's always very mood based, which I kind of love about his stuff. Like I can always imagine how he was feeling at the time. In a lot of respects, the same way that I feel the same way about someone like Devin Townsend. Whilst I don't always love that guy's music, in fact, there's a handful of songs that I genuinely like, and the rest are kind of, I appreciate it, but I don't necessarily like it. You can tell on certain albums when he's come out afterwards and said, well, yeah, I was in a bit of depression when I wrote that, because it's clearly evident over the musicality in it. And Ihsahn's very similar to that, in that I always get a feeling that there's a kind of loose concept somewhere in the back of his head, or a specific motif or theme he's trying to hit on his recordings. And I always, like, whenever you like read depressed stuff, which I don't, and I never listened to the EP that came out in February, so didn't do my homework there, Dave.
Fuck's sake.
But I always get the feeling that there's he's not just sitting writing a song. There's more behind that. There's a story or an image or something he's working towards. He's painting pictures through his music, and I think he's very good at that. And this, surprisingly, this whole thing front to back surprisingly works, and it probably shouldn't, and it really does. And once again, in the grand tradition of Duncan speaking a lot and then shutting the fuck up, I will now shut the fuck up and join you when we're talking about the songs.
Yeah. I think Black Jazz was Shining, was it not? Was that no Shining that did Black Jazz?
Shining, that's what it is. That wasn't Ihsahn, was it?
No.
Fuck. There we go. That blows my theory out of the water.
Should have done your homework, Duncan.
Although, I will say, if there's one album you listen to this week, it's 2008's Black Jazz or wherever it came out. That album, by the way, is the fucking tits. Ihsahn, no involvement with that.
Oh, don't try and claw it back, Duncan.
Well, you guys are talking, I will, there's 6 degrees of separation. They sent my birthday card when they were recording it. Right, you guys talk. I'm going to go and sit in the corner.
Oh, okay, you do that.
The comment section will be going wild right now in the video.
Yeah. That's why I mentioned it. Kyle, our resident Norwegian, what did you make of this new EP from Ihsahn?
I mean, I don't know. I listened to it a few times, and to be honest, I don't really remember anything about it except for the 2 covers. Okay. I feel like an asshole saying it, but I'm like, I don't think this is their strongest release. I mean, the dude, he is a fantastic musician, and the songs are good. From what I remember, I don't remember sitting there thinking, "Oh, I wish I hadn't put this on," you know. I just don't have any. I did put it on quite a few times. I don't have any real memory of what the songs were about. I mean, except for maybe the atmosphere was quite like striking is the word for. But I loved the covers. I thought, because I know Aha quite well, because obviously living in Norway you're going to. Yeah. And I thought the way they reimagined Manhattan skyline was amazing, and I actually really enjoyed that. That's the part I remember the most. And the cover of Portishead as well was like, these were really well done covers. They really changed the style and the genre and everything, and just did what fit the song. It wasn't like, oh, we're going to do a ambient metal thing or whatever. It was like, it was a cover that is so typically Ihsahn, and it was like, it was really strong. But I don't know. I just don't remember much about the other 3 songs at all, and I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe that just means the covers are super, super strong. Maybe it means the 3 songs are a bit weaker than what you typically expect from them. But I did enjoy it. I didn't sit there and think this sucks. So
okay, well, that's good. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I took a bit of a deep dive back into the Telemark EP before checking this one out, just to kind of refresh my memory a bit, because this EP is obviously linked to Telemark. I thought it might give me a kind of better understanding of where he's coming from on Pharos, but it's clear this is a very different EP to Telemark. Whilst both are like progressive in a lot of ways, this definitely hears Ihsahn take a far more melodic route than on Telemark, which again was a very varied EP. It had moments of progressive metal and black metal, straight up rock on the cover songs on that EP, where there's no like visceral screams or blast beats on Pharos at all. As the promotional material that came with EP states, this is the kind of the light to Telemark's dark. And I really enjoyed this. It's very different to that release. It feels more in vein with something you'd hear from like Stephen Wilson or Bruce Soord, or even some of the kind of lighter material on the new Katatonia album. Unsurprisingly though, musically it's very well put together. As you guys have said, he's a brilliant songwriter. And for me that really comes across on this EP. as I mentioned, there's not a lot of heaviness on this release at all. Although he does tease it a little bit on Losing Altitude and the title track very briefly. But you know what? I didn't actually miss the heaviness from his past releases. I felt that these songs were so good that I was kind of more than happy just to kind of sit back and immerse myself in these 5 tracks. And it's only 25 minutes, you know, it flies in. But me personally, I could have listened to a full album of this. And in some ways, I actually preferred this side of Ihsahn. These tracks are kind of loaded with these kind of proggy, melodic soundscapes, a lot of vocal hooks. There's a lot of kind of retro synths in there, Duncan.
Yes, thank you, Dave.
And a bit of piano in there as well. What I really liked, I really loved the use of the strings on the EP. I thought it really kind of lifted those choruses on Losing Altitude and Spectre at the Feast. It just kind of gives them this kind of huge lift. And as much as the EP is upbeat and quite catchy, I quite enjoyed the kind of darker tone on the title track. It's got a kind of almost kind of Behemoth-esque section in the middle with a kind of there's kind of some chanting. There's very kind of ominous, eerie kind of guitar work. I thought it was really clever. The track itself is probably the least uplifting out of the 3 tracks, just due to the kind of the use of a lot of kind of minor chords and stuff like that. It gave it more of a kind of somber feel. But when those kind of big gothic sections kind of kicked in, I thought it kind of took the track to another level. Vocally though, he's a really, really fantastic vocalist, and I felt this is where the EP kind of really shone. He's got a really, really good voice, very kind of warm tone, great range. It's very easy on the ear, but quite an interesting vocalist to listen to. And I know you mentioned Big Devin earlier on, Duncan. It did remind me a little bit of Devin Townsend at times. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily in terms of the tone of his voice, but they're both very accomplished and kind of very like clever songwriters. The cover songs though, actually pretty good. Yeah. The Portishead track, I listened to the original and I listened to this back to back. It kept a lot of the kind of original ideas in terms of the kind of structure of the track and its kind of bare bones kind of simplicity, but he also put his own spin on it a little bit musically as well. He kind of changed the kind of keyboard parts for a guitar, which was pretty cool as well. I quite like that. Manhattan Skyline though, one of the highlights on the EP for that Aha cover is fantastic. Again, it remains kind of very faithful to the original, but he kind of pushes the intensity a little bit of the guitars, which gives the track a little bit more of a kind of modern kind of feel and a bit more of a drive to it than the original. Actually quite a similar voice to Morton Harkett mm-hmm. as well. Absolutely brilliant. I thought his vocals on that track were really good. He got his kind of tone and the kind of breathiness of it kind of down to a T. I really enjoyed this. A very satisfying listening. And as I said, I really enjoyed this side of Ihsahn, and I hope he does more of it in the future. Duncan's got that look in his eye like he's about to drop a kind of truth bomb on me here. What is it?
Just to save my brain from totally snapping. There is crossover. Black Jazz came out in 2010, the same year as Ihsahn's album After, and the frontman from The Shining, Jorgen, I can never remember his surname, who plays saxophone and does vocals in that one, played saxophone on After. So yes, 2 albums, both bands from Norway as well. So both bands from Norway, albums at the same year, and the frontman of one of the bands guessed another one. So yes, Ihsahn did not release Black Jazz. No, it didn't happen. But I can see how my brain of 10 years ago maybe brundleflied them together. So I'm okay with that. Walking it back slowly now. So my brain right now has it's that scene from It's Always Sunny where he's got all the pictures lined up with the red string linking them all. That's how much of a conspiracy theory it was. I was like, no, I'm sure there's... So it was the other way around. It was a dude from The Shining guested on an Ihsahn thing and not Ihsahn guested on Black. But yeah, removing myself from that, I'm more in line with what Dave said than I necessarily am with what Kyle said. I think I really enjoyed this. I think there's great contrast here against some of his other work, but specifically the songwriting's where it lies for me. I think it's really well written. His vocal tone is, dare I say the word, beautiful? I think it really is.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with any of that. I really do like the way they write songs and the style and everything. It's just like, maybe I just need to listen to it more often.
Yeah. Or maybe it's just not for you, Kyle, and I think that's okay.
It's not for me, but I mean, I only got this a few days ago.
Yeah.
Maybe I just need to give it some more. Maybe it's too short. I don't know.
Yeah, I really want to listen to the other EP, which I didn't know existed.
Yeah.
This is why you should read the press thing, Duncan.
Yeah.
I like to go into it unfiltered, so I don't use any of the words that the PR companies give you to say. That's right, I'm looking at you, PR companies, and we know who's doing PR for this. That's right, I'm looking at you, Lisa. So, I don't
in that case, no, I loved it. I loved everything.
I don't want to use their words, so I don't read it, but in hindsight now, this is the sort of conversation that when I met Dave over coffee with yesterday would have been fucking useful, Dave. Yeah. I could have simboarded things like black jazz off you and you could have went, Duncan, I think you'll find that's The Shining. What a dick, he just let me hang myself. Cocky bastard, look at him. No, I think it's really good. I also want to double down on not conventional choices for even not a conventional Aha cover, but it is really, really, really well done. Really, I think it is. I think it's kind of fucking great. So, well done, Ihsahn. You can keep releasing music. Past that.
The great Duncan has said.
Yes, I have allowed you to have another release after this. Which is the link back to this one because I've now listened to this one, so I know how that will be. So that's fine.
Okay, so
Dave's like, okay, home. EP is supposed to be short, Duncan. This should be longer than the fucking EP.
Rating wise, for this EP, I really dug this. I couldn't find a lot to dislike in this at all. I'm going to go in with a 4.5 for me.
I'm going in with a 4, just a little bit short of you, Dave, but
okay.
Still really, really liked it.
Okay, Kyle, what about yourself?
As much as all the things I said sounded like bad things, it wasn't. I did like it. It's a 4 out of 5.
Excellent. Yeah. If you want to check this one out, guys, the Pharos EP will be released on September 11th on Candlelight Records. And if you want to check out the band or the man himself, facebook.com/Ihsahn Music. I'll put a link in the description below as well. Thanks once again for checking out the review. Much appreciated. We'll be back very soon with another album review. But until then, take care. We will speak to you soon.
Bye, everyone.